Humans spent hundreds of thousands of years optimizing our biological hardware for the physical world. But in just the last 2 decades, that slow-paced organic system has been forced to process the high-speed software of a hyper-connected digital reality. Every day, we wake up drafted into an information war. Algorithms built by thousands of engineers fight for our finite attention. We live with a low hum of anxiety because our dopamine circuits are constantly hijacked by pings, feeds, and bottomless content loops. We try to adapt. We rely on sheer willpower to put the phone down, or we turn to standard medications to treat the resulting brain fog. Yet for millions, these conventional tools are failing to restore a sense of focus and control. Desperate for a fix, people are dividing into 2 radical camps of DIY neurohacking. One group believes the answer is absolute subtraction. The other insists the solution is a very specific kind of addition. Rather than waiting for society or medicine to catch up, everyday people are bypassing doctors to become their own behavioral test subjects. They are treating their own neurochemistry like an open-source project, simply because they are tired of feeling like passengers in their own bodies. In the town of Toyowake, Japan, local officials recently passed an ordinance pushing their 69,000 residents to cap smartphone usage to exactly 2 hours a day. It is an aggressive attempt to counter mass sleep deprivation and online addiction among younger generations. When heavy users, many of whom clock over 8 hours of screen time daily, attempt to follow this guideline, they hit a wall. Gen Z participants report intense struggles, describing the process of hiding their phones and locking their apps as agonizing. Their brains, accustomed to constant stimulation, experience actual withdrawal. This chart shows what that sudden shock to the system looks like on paper. By capping a device at 2 hours, an average heavy user is abruptly reclaiming 6 hours of their waking life. That massive block of time is forced back into physical tasks, reading, studying, or exercising. Participants who push through the initial discomfort report a strange phenomenon. Without the digital noise filling every gap in their schedule, they say their days actually feel longer. They find themselves forced to notice their physical surroundings, causing their perception of time to stretch out. The sheer difficulty of putting a piece of glass in a drawer for a few hours reveals the severity of the problem. This digital fast is a blunt force method to intentionally starve overstimulated dopamine receptors until the real world starts to feel meaningful again. Halfway across the world, professionals in the UK and tech workers in Silicon Valley are tackling the exact same modern burnout from the opposite direction. Instead of fasting, they are adding taboo, illegal chemicals to their morning routines. When we think of psychedelics, we often picture the 1960s counterculture, where users sought to check out of reality entirely. Modern microdosers take these substances to sharpen their cognitive performance during the workday. This visual scale shows a full, traditional 100 microgram dose of LSD. Modern neurohackers slice that down to just 10 to 20 micrograms, taken every few days. This is a microdose. The goal is a sub-perceptual effect, where the brain receives a neurological boost without the user feeling high. The anecdotal reports are striking. Mothers in the UK describe grinding up trace amounts of homegrown magic mushrooms to treat deep-seated depression that standard antidepressants couldn't touch. Tech workers claim it grants them immense focus, empathy, and clarity during high-stress meetings. But glowing internet forums are not clinical trials. To separate placebo from pharmacology, researchers at institutions like Imperial College London are running formal controlled studies on the practice. The early data presents a complicated picture. While participants report decreased mind-wandering and lower levels of stress, scientists have found no solid evidence of increased creativity. In some cases, microdosing even triggered a slight increase in neuroticism, and researchers suspect the placebo effect is doing heavy lifting. Despite the lack of definitive clinical backing, the trend is growing. Microdosing acts as an extreme chemical gamble, a DIY attempt to artificially stimulate serotonin receptors worn down by the chronic cortisol of modern life. On the surface, a Japanese town locking their phones away and British professionals illegally measuring out trace amounts of psychedelics appear to be disconnected behaviors, yet the underlying psychology is identical. Both are blunt force, radical attempts to shock the brain out of a passive, overstimulated fog. Whether by stripping away the digital environment or introducing a chemical catalyst, the goal is to force a return to cognitive agency. These niche experiments reveal a broader friction. The physical present is now something we must consciously fight to inhabit. We have to be actively shocked back into noticing our own lives. We've built an environment where distraction is the default state. Achieving a focused life is no longer a passive experience. It now requires active, radical intervention to take our minds back.